I went my 90%. They might call me at 100. I got a few more weeks before the rest of this is gone, so I act like it's on purpose. I'm a swimmer. I can do my head shake. Yes. Just the talk, though. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you know, these chicks come off. It gives a lot of symptoms. Yeah, but you know, that's where all of us, the young chicks operate. Yeah, that's saves your soul. And you're
Okay, I'll read it. Hi. Hey, y'all beautiful people! Welcome to Poetry in the Brew. Give yourselves a hand because you're awesome! I'm your host, Christine Hall. Portland Brew East stays open late just for us. Thank you to Patrick and the crew down there. Oh my goodness gracious. Let me tell you something. You can tip them direct in cash to show your thanks. They got food and drinks. There's a suggested $5 cover for up here to enjoy the show and help contribute to the expenses. If you can pay that, that's great. We appreciate it. If not, no problem. We appreciate you being here. The show is what you make it, so thank you for making it. Next month is our 11th year anniversary. I've been doing it 7.5 years. And there's so many other good things going on around town. So I really appreciate you being here and can't wait to hear what you have to say. Our feature is in the house, Lyss Hart! What a fucking treat. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna say a couple things. I'm gonna read a poem by somebody else that I don't usually do that, but I really liked this one and it works for Pride Month. And I'm queer. I related to it. I enjoyed it. I also want to say a couple things about body image because I am practicing an exercise of what I preach tonight by wearing this because I enjoy everyone's shapes as they present and inhabit. I'm like, I can do that myself too. And I have 2 stories about that. They do involve sexual assault slightly and body image, as I said. The first is I have beaten 1 video game in my entire life. It just happened very recently. And the thing is the day that I beat that video game, and I'll tell you what it was. It was Ring Fit on the Nintendo Switch. Okay, so it's an exercise game where you're like beating up this dragon, right? Oh, so fun. Yeah, punch and kick your way. And I had just beat the game, right? And I'm feeling pretty powerful, but I'm in my pajamas and I go outside and my neighbor sees me and she's like, oh girl, you look so good. I'm like sweaty and grungy in my pajamas. And I'm like, thank you. You're really strong. And she goes, yeah, you gained some weight. It looks good on you. I fucking loved that. That was 1. Number 2, my first time wearing this outfit, testing out the practice what I preach, we embody ourselves, we work it, okay? So I'm at Kroger, and I'm not really even thinking about it. I just like was feeling myself, and you know, I was bending over pretty liberally, really not even thinking about, oh, do the squat or anything like that. And this woman comes rushing me from down the aisle, and she's like fussing about something, and I don't know, but like my personality as it is, I think she wants me to move out of her way. I'm in the way, and so I don't really understand, and she's there right in front of me, and she's still fussing at me. So what she's telling me is that a man has just photographed me bending over. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I'm a 42-year-old Jewish mom. I host a poetry open mic, and I'm going to read you this poem by Sue Hyen Bay called After the Threesome, They Both Take You Home. And then we'll start with the open mic. even though it's so very late. And they have to report to their jobs in a few hours. They both get in the car, one driving, one shotgun, you in the back, like a child needing a drive to settle into sleep, even though one could drive and the other sleep, because they can't sleep without each other. They'd rather drive you across the city rather than be apart for half an hour, the office buildings lit, pointlessly beautiful, for nobody except you to admire their reflections in the water, the lovers too busy talking about that colleague they don't like, tomorrow's dinner plans, how once they bought peaches on a road trip and ate until they could taste it in each other's pores. They get out of the car together to kiss you goodnight, you who have perfected the ghost goodbye, exiting gatherings noiselessly, leaving only a dahlia-scented perfume, your rib cage compressing to slide through doors ajar and untouched. In the day, yesterday, you were a flash of white in a pigeon's blinking eye. In the day few hours old, you stand solid and full of other people's love for each other, spilling over, warm leftovers. Hope you enjoyed, and guess what? We're gonna welcome our first speaker to the open mic. Thank you so much, Brandon Long.
Alrighty. Hello everyone. I think I need just a tiny bit more calmness in here. Sorry. Should have smoked more cigarettes when I was a kid. Okay, that'll do. So this first one is the only new one that I really have finished in a long time. I just finished it, and I hope I remember it. So here we go. This poem is called Saturday. It's a good day for that. So. That Saturday never had a badder day. Black Catterday. Walk under a ladder day. Mirror glass shatter day. Mad Hatter day. Black Adder day. Black skies, lightning, thunder thighs, exciting, my wonder whys. Raindrops go pitter patter day. I prefer the former or the latter day. Stuck in traffic with a full bladder day. Bed wetter day. Bed header day. To be a bedwetter with bedhead is a red letter day. A love letter's sentiment is dead before the letterhead is even red day. Just can't get a header day. Is there room in the week for a better day? Thanks. So I guess I'll do one more, and this one's a rerun, but I think I haven't done it here in a long time, so hopefully it feels fresh to everybody. This poem is called Roman. I'm out here roaming, trying to cross this divide. Inside my mind, unwind in the wind, roll them down, take it in, toke it up, broke as fuck, I say, what's up? You can't woke the dead, they're already buried. Better try next year, gerrymandered and gay married. Televised live, hive mind, prime time, open your eyes, it's 1984. George Orwell at the front door, no longer a myth, and you're Winston Smith. It's a brave new world, just like Aldous Huxley. Take the soma, join the orgy, say, oh well, just fuck me. Mishmash, mash up, opaque, glassable, unpassable glass half full. Don't be a pessimist, just celebrate the Festivus with the rest of us. Don't mess, decompress. No distress, disinterest. I detest the contest, bomb fest, unrest, a protest. Go get a riot. On fire in the night, a live wire for hire, plant a pallet of bricks in the crowd, slam a mallet for Vicks and cry out loud, police cruisers cruising, cracking skulls, void null, never dull, never a dull night. Welcome to 2020, maybe better 21. Don't you know who sent me? God put me here to spread the good news, wailing at the walls like Hasidic Jews with long hair and bomb wear, black hats in the heat, bobbing heads with dread swinging to the beat. Don't get caught slipping. Don't open the door, Mom. I'm in here gripping. My meat, what I'm supposed to do. I'm 12 years old out here in the heat. Don't defeat. To be meek doesn't mean to be weak. In fact, it means carry a sword, but don't use it every week. And don't dip your beak in company ink. You stink and reek like moldy floorboards when you're trying to sneak out of your mother's house, betrayed by your brother's grouse outside trying to catch a mouse. So run, bail out the window, fall, don't break your neck, all hail, it ain't no sin though. Run through the jungle like Creedence Clearwater. Buns you wanna bungle belong to the preacher's daughter. Incredible edibles are unforgettable. My goose is cooked and my whistle is wettable. You look at me when I call, it's THC tetrahydrocannabinol. Wax, dab, shatter, brain splattered. If you don't mind, it really don't matter. Breathe it in, toke it up, broke as hell, dope as fuck. Help me get home. Freely I roam. I got that green moss, but I ain't no rolling stone. Wrong side of the tracks, looking back, heart attack, catch me at the quick sack. Hell of a name for someone not in the game. What a shame, I blame the culture. What a bunch of fucking vultures. Using, abusing, misconstrued, attitude, self-imbued with their own power. Sour, dour, stinking, take a shower. Wash off that filth like a MILF with too many lovers. Change the covers and the sheets. Hell, the whole bed, the whole house reeks. Rick and Morty, well over 40, it's Mr. Meeseeks. A confrontational information hole, a distasteful waste dump, making fake news, Biden's hiding fresh outtakes from Donald Trump. China virus, Kung flu, China plague, it's called COVID-19, Mr. President, don't be so vague. Snatch up another Big Mac and while you're at it, have a fucking turkey leg. A crybaby girl that murdered the whole world with lazy curls and a well-worded soul unfurled. She sings with the birds and plays with the squirrels. Now comes our end. We've no more deferrals.
Woo! Oh, let's hear it for Brandon Long.
Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna just this. That's what we're gonna do. Okay.
Hi, welcome. This is the sign up. If anybody would like on it and is not yet, it's going to live right there, and you are so welcome to join the list. But right now, super grateful and excited to welcome back Adam Stutzman. Did I pronounce your name right? Okay, great. I even got the first one correct this time. Welcome, Adam. Yay!
Adam and not Alex this time.
My son was briefly dating someone named Alex. I apologize for that.
Oh, that's okay. There are far worse things to be called. Cool. Hi, I'm Adam. This is my second time ever reading here. I've been meaning to come back, and life keeps happening. So, anyway, I'm gonna read two poems. First one is about healing, specifically like in the spectrum of healing, where there's the beginning and the end, and this one's kind of like right on there. It's called One of the Last Loads. The house was demolished over a year ago. The splintered wood and scraps of furniture, the picture frames and appliances, the hallways and rooms, and the shadows in their corners and the lights in their centers were hauled away long ago to be burned or recycled. The grass has grown back, and the foundation is no longer recognizable. But there is a hole still. It leads into the basement and remains covered by a piece of plywood to keep the animals out, weighed down by cement blocks I can barely lift myself. But when you take off the covering and walk down those decrepit wooden steps, which never really felt safe to begin with, if I'm being honest, you'll find a goddamned mess of leftovers. I've been cleaning these recent months, hauling up trash bags full of the past, the plastic sacks tied tight containing old photos, comic books, and walking your dog, knickknacks, nicknames, and clothes on the wrong sides, and those early late-night car conversations. Double bagged with the bruises on my wrists and broken terrariums, which really are just glass jars with a fancy name. How do plants grow in such a cage anyway? Some things are heavier than others, but I learned how a garbage bag looks the same whether it's full of dead leaves or reluctant touches. Some things are heavier than others, and some things are heavier than the nothings, and you can't call one the other and get away with it for very long. Some things are heavier than others, but once the small stuff is gone, the big things stop seeming so big. There's a refrigerator with nothing inside it but an old molding birthday cake missing 2 slices. I'll need another set of hands to get that thing to the dump. Some things are heavier than others. Lately, sometimes I'll stop by to take something small I can put in my pocket, only to throw it away right away in a parked trash can, but I never leave with empty hands. One day this hole will be cleaned, this void will be filled, and I won't return to this plot ever again. But I've still got some work to do. Today, as I peer down the stairs, prepared to take another load or two to the landfill, I stop myself and smile. There are only a few more boxes left. I forgot I swept the floor last time, so it already looks cleaner than I remember. The refrigerator, unplugged and warm and sealed shut, waits on one side, and on another, the final few boxes, full and packed and taped, but more than can fit in my trunk today. That's okay. I'm almost done, and I only have 2 hands. Thanks. The second one is also kind of about healing, but it's also about a cave. I've been reading a lot of caves and holes in the ground. Anyway, I went to Chattanooga recently to go to a cave to like be inspired and whatever. And then I found out how this cave that I visited came to be a tourist attraction, and it bummed me out. So I wrote this poem. It's called "What Have You Done, Leo Lambert, and in the Name of Love?" They call it a love story. A man drills into the surface of the earth until it gives, and he takes a look underground. They say he did it for his wife, a high school sweetheart story gone right. All American. Honey, I crawled through the dark for you. Darling, I found a waterfall and gave it your name. Sweetheart, I think we should blow it apart. Love, let's make some money. Today there are tours every 10 minutes. A $20 ticket to kill a couple hours, parades of bad shirts and sunglasses pumped into the ground only to turn around and visit the gift shop. Buy a branded rock or weird socks, stiff shirts, and shiny stones in plastic. I search for the name of my first love on a keychain, but she's not there. What makes a name worthy of a keychain? What about the names you cannot purchase? It's my turn to get in line. We take an air-conditioned elevator into the ground. One at a time, single file, get your photo taken. Purchase it afterward. But now, stand on that sticker, pass the sign with the Wi-Fi password, and smile. Thumbs up, a goofy one this time. There is a Wi-Fi almost 500 feet below the surface of the earth. The internet is inside a mountain. Like and share. Some of these rocks were brought down here for decoration, easier on the eyes. We've provided handrails. The floor can get wet 500 feet below the surface of the earth. Now let's get going. We walk information through formations that information we have tells us took thousands of years to form. This one is called cactus because it looks like a cactus. Boyfriends make half-baked jokes to their girlfriends who laugh because they're on vacation. Children ask parents questions they don't know the answers to, but the parents are too busy budgeting for lunch later to hear them. However, these children will remember the curving rock corridors, the water flecks, the thick air, the dark, and how it scatters when the light show starts. And we see her namesake in neon 90 feet through the air from a small hole falling into the circle pool. Parents want photos, but their children cannot look away. Can a waterfall remember every child? Can it see them through the light show or hear them over the machine music that competes with its own water song? Some of these kids will return as adults, a ticket for one, to see if that waterfall really did change colors, to hear if it really did make the sound of synth pads, or if it has a voice of its own, a whisper in the water. The light show loops every 10 minutes, and here's a 3-minute warning, and back the way we came. They call it a love story. I hope she died happy with her gift. I hope he died proud of himself. The kind tour guide tells us a stalactite grows longer with every drip, a drop dragging deposits, making meandering minerals stick to the sides. Half an inch takes a century to grow. Christ, that fast. But if human hands make contact, the oils will repel the water and stop the growth immediately. That will be as long as it ever gets, hanging from the ceiling, never meeting the ground it grows toward, reaching. Don't touch the nature, he says. Electric lights soak his white beard. Plastic speakers make it hard to hear. Don't touch nature. They call it a love story. My chest cavity swallows me. I see every stalactite of my own. What is a century besides day drops coating one another after another, to harden, to lengthen? It is difficult to remain soft enough to drip. Some almost touch the floor, but not quite. Close, but not yet. I recall touches from foreign hands when the growth stopped, when the water wandered to avoid oils. Repel, repel, repel. A wide and shimmering, unfinished column. The most recent attempt, the longest yet, now dead, almost connects top to bottom, but the fingerprints on the tip reveal the premature end. Yet, a stalactite wants to grow. Water, minerals, and mountain are always wanting to make. Let the old stones hang in silence, a pretty past. The water has moved on again. I squint into the dark and see the first of the next beginning, and I hear it. Drip, drip, drip. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Adam Stutzman. It's gorgeous work. Thank you. We welcome now Lucky.
I'll go with, we'll call this one with think positive, think positive, think positive. Don't let go of thinking positive. Think positive, think positive, think positive. Think positive. Think positive, think positive. Wait, why am I thinking positive? Is it possible just to be positive? This next one, I'll go with waking up. Hello, it's good to see you. It's good to see you too. You're here. You made it. I made it too.
Lucky, thank you. So good to hear from you tonight. Straight from the heart, y'all. Oh, let us see. Oh, hi. Yes, we have the sign up. It is still open. Would love to see some more folks on if you want to join. Yay. And let me see. Who do we have? I know who. Welcome back and thank you so much, Zach Conley.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do two. The first one is called Frostbite. She puts on a one-woman show when it snows, building a stage by hand in a park no one goes to because of the wind and the cold. And she builds the audience, putting work into details. A small family of 3 up front, a single mom with 2 children, a romantic couple snuggling in the back, and lots of single people drinking, laughing, and having fun. They're like the people you see every day that you think stare at you as you go past. She fills the audience with them, fastening with carrots, twigs, and a few bits of coal. Then she climbs on the stage, letting her shoes sink deep into it. But that's okay, the show doesn't have much footwork, just a lot of words and arm expressions. She tells jokes and imagines they laugh, except when they don't. Then she sings one of them with a nickname and everyone laughs. Always laughing with her, never at her. There isn't much of a story or a plot, just her speaking from the heart, and not in that t-shirt slogan friendly way we usually mean. She's vulnerable, she's cruel, she makes mistakes in her words and takes pauses to correct herself. She apologizes. If the snow didn't trap her in place, she would dance like no one was watching. Then when she finishes, they applaud in her mind with a standing ovation, while she bows happy to perform the act of being herself. Not alone, but not really. And as the sun comes out and the water falls down her cheeks, she pretends for a moment she's just melted with them. And okay, this one's called The Void. Hopefully it's okay. If you stare long enough at the void stares back. The darkness that says, I am nothing, you are nothing, all you hope for is nothing, all you desire is nothing, nothing is what awaits you. The void stares back. And maybe it's because I am the old religious type that believes in the creator God and the spoken word and the something out of nothing, but I see the void as an old enemy from the dawn of time, the nothing on which light was first cast and a voice whispered, it is good. And I realized it wasn't a void, it was a canvas of black and light was flipped across it with a paintbrush. The void stares back, but it's not a void. It's the canvas that stands before the painter, the blank page before the writer, the moment of silence as the pianist finds the keys, the stillness as the actress takes the stage. It is the nothingness that just awaits for something to be made. The void stares back. And I can't promise it won't come for you. Writer's block, stage fright, depression, the feeling that you are never enough, the feeling that you are wrong, the feeling that you are nothing. 1,000 different things strangely summoned by a creature that claims to be no thing. And I think back to my terror at painting, holding the brush inches from the canvas, and I thought what my characters would say because I wrote one to be a painter. And she whispers, "It's a canvas, you can't ruin it. You can only make something beautiful. As long as it is yours, that makes it good." The void stares back. So when you approach the void, strike it with creation. Paint, write, sing, act, build, create art, create love, create community, create a world worth living in, create your life. Just create it, don't worry if it isn't perfect. Just worry that it's yours, because that means it is beautiful, and that means it is good. And on the day you approach the void unarmed, bite your thumb and smear it with your blood, 2 dots in the curve of a smile, because if you stare long enough at the void, you can force it to stare back.
Oh, boy.
Let's hear some more for Zach Conley. Thank you. Love the gentle depths to which you delve. Thank you. We have a first timer on our mic. Thankful and honored to welcome now Patrick Smith.
Hello. Before, my name is Patrick. I am simply a mechanic. Writing came out sort of as a cathartic application, one in which I reflect much upon my time when I used to climb. I say used to because I quit, because I lost many friends, but at the same time we were flirting with a lot of things maybe you shouldn't flirt with, especially fate. But during that time, I was able to reflect and gather because I did survive. And from that, I also realized the messages we universally learned have come down to where perhaps there are resonance in these words in a language that is not my own, it is not my mother tongue, but I work it every day to improve. This piece is new, but it's also extremely old. It started back in early 2008 after we came back from climbing Rhino's Mountain north of Juneau, Alaska, summoning Rhino's Peak. And for us, that was our Everest. Identity. Defined as the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. We each choose an identity. The identity we embrace is a means of self-expression and transformation. In order to decide what to do with this continuance, there has to be a self-examination of every facet and focus towards that singularity between who you were, who you are, and who you will become. Each have their own demons to temper. What would you do if you could no longer do the thing you use to identify yourself? 2 completely different states of being, from what I wanted turned into what I needed, and the long drawn-out downward spiral to the inevitable collapse. What was once essential eventually fueled more oxygen, and with that, the fire burned hotter and ultimately changed me. We become what we pay attention to, and I became what I deeply explored and rose out from the other side, completely alien to myself and those around me, and I have not fit in since. What we practice the hardest and the most ultimately defines us, but you must participate wholly and deeply enough by your actions and intentions in order for them to change you. To create, to grow, we become what we do, and as hard as we do it. Self-destructive acts, if in their intent do not break down or to rebuild, are just that. They are destructive. In the end, a dead end. However, if you are diving to the bottom, to touch the void in order to push off and strive upward towards the air that will make you burn once more, that is different. Through the process, our created identity, the continued refined action reinforced by how much suffering we sought. What happens when we stop doing it? What happens when we stop doing the thing that identifies us? We used to discriminate, to exclude from trivial and important what we recycled to guide us morally, to learn, to change and grow. The change
The question that grows louder and louder, no avoiding it any longer. How can you stop doing what identifies you? The void is all consuming once this happens, once the event takes place. The art which is martial, I choose, or I should say was chosen for me to begin to learn to express, was never completed. There was never closure, and that has never settled well within me. Who will I be without the mantle of my chosen action, my craft, around and inside of me? What will I become without the discipline it enforced, the hierarchy of values it shaped, and the social circle it drew tightly around me? It defined the way, and the step-by-step took me to first the center and then to the edge of the map. What then? Choices lead to paths, and paths lead to destination. And every new destination with my past and my identity as my reference point. The hand-me-down parts I used to build me, or I should say honestly, I was stripped bare in order to be built to begin with. The corrosive body parts and the terminally ill engine of my mind was destructive, simply. The course of my actions and the remodeled thinking led me down paths unknown and unconquerable. The blank pages I filled in and then called it a map, to make plans only to shred them and make new ones, each time believing this draft was greater than the last. The more skill and capacity and tolerance I learned and the more horsepower I added to my engine, the larger that map became. And its edge, though, was a void. That black hole was not simply ahead of me, but within. And it scared the shit out of me. What then? Step off. Free fall. Know the bottom is rushing towards you and you it. Do something. Look in the mirror. Hard. Can you examine who you are truthfully and why? Are you the condition of accident or circumstance, the result of decision or coincidence? There will be no wholesale recreation. Stagnation will not be permitted because that is the equivalent of death, and I have already seen its face. Trying all I could to fill the void with silky actions, trying to soften the blow and the headlong impact I was about to receive. If you are training, you have taken the helm. At least you have chosen to control one aspect of your life and self that you can control. With practice, life becomes more something we can steer rather than something that happens to us. Understand we control our actions, and our actions have consequences on who we are and who we ultimately become. Each to their own. I've made a self-revolution before, to the points in the distance, a destination of which to work towards. You can decide who you will become every time you lift a weight or grab onto the stone of the pitch. Do not follow the path of another. Decide, for you will only go as far as the prescribed can imagine. Execute. What if their imagination will be the very thing that becomes your downfall? It becomes your void. For the time we have left is only as permanent as the present moment. There is no guarantee of what we will find after death. So in that, make the most of it. Amen.
Wow.
One more time for Patrick Smith. Oh, phenomenal hearing from you, and I will look forward to the next time. Hopefully here sometime again too. That would be fantastic. My goodness. Oh, love a new voice on the mic. Love returning favorites. Please welcome now with great thanks, Greg Slade. Oh, are you ready? I hope so. I'm so ready for you.
Kind of ready. Hey, everybody. We got three kind of shorter ones today. This is called cultural conflict. It's a strange kind of coincidence that the cradle of our civilization's creation remains to this day the cradle of our greatest conflicts. As if our culture is not related so much to the time and place, but to the culture of conflict itself in some way. The culture of some chosen one to dominate, some need to grow and spread out to be too great. Fighting for the end of the world you await. serving a thing you know not, which fully controls your fate. Glad to go down if it means you'll be raised up, lionized by the way your sheephood has shaped up, knowing all the things you're told, denying all you'll never think to know, fighting your brother for the favor, killing even, the way all the stories of our prayers share. It might be the motion of those lost to God the scripture said would come to bear a different name for Gog and Magog, images of our idols everywhere, a framed up painting of a cross we'll never bear, blood in the eyes of the prophet, showing what happened to the last one who wasn't scared. This is called ataraxia. People speak of speaking to God, speak of me speaking to myself, seeming odd. Has God told them what is seen from looking on beyond? Did Asclepius preach indeed the perfect dialogue? What should one make of all the wisdom said to have been spoken by any god? Would the wisdom be held then in some form of high regard? Would the recounting of a god's words have some way of naturally working their worth? Should we then beg for our repeated instruction? Should we even speak in response to the words of a god's introduction? How could God be wrong about the dogma and the doctrine? To take then the bait of the profession of faith in the name of not setting out to negate, I considered perhaps God would talk to me then someday. It's good to think of things before they take place, to rehearse the scene before the day the light hits the stage. So I commenced to speak with myself about what a God might have to say. The way one might prepare for a meeting or a reunion. How does one even deal with God while being so freaking human? Challenged myself to seek out the space to imagine what a God might actually have to say. It's quite a conversation that came to take place. I could not tell you the time. I could not tell you the day. Just shortly before, I was once again taken away. How could I describe what God and I discussed? Poorly, I suppose, would be the answer you could trust. And I got just one more. This is called Forget Me Not. It's very hard to believe in things that no one else believes in, to struggle with things no one else seems to even be able to see. Is the truth supposed to be such an odd and solitary thing then? Is it any surprise what I see should be seen to be so obscene, when the things that the truth would lead me to seek seem to have been tabooed to me, tabooed to you and to you and to you too? Sir, tabooed until the truth becomes the path you've been warned from? Grr. The pattern beneath the water we bleed through, air. The in and the out, in service and out of mind, flowing in as fast as they flow on down the lines. Moves, nobody even pauses to wonder why. Only when it won't come or can't stop, or even worse, won't go away, the hurt then moves to the beat of the drop. The mind is sparked to ponder how it might come and what might make it stop. Where it should go, how it became so blocked. When you're bleeding and drowning, no doubt that is an awful lot. A hell of a time to ask for faith from among those cast in such a similar plot, believing in things we all have somehow seemed to forgot, burning the last of our most precious forget-me-nots, retiring from any godlike visions or thoughts. What a great way for us to remain getting lost.
Keep it going for Greg Slade. Ooh, actualizing the subtleties. Thank you. I am delighted to welcome back now Beth Marie.
You can be rough. It's cool.
Your laughter is a ghost that only comes around in spring. The shadow of your smile curling up the twisted trellis of wisteria vines, caught in a languid loop. I am always surprised how subtly you sow the seeds that will take root, twist into tangled knots, and pull just tight to choke out my heart. Thank you. I have some happy sad news. I got a new job,
Congratulations.
and it's in Atlanta. But you have not seen the last of me. You find people. It's only a 4-hour drive, so
We're actually going there this summer. So.
that's amazing. I'm traveling a lot. I might not be there when you're there. But if I am, let's meet up in Atlanta. Let me.
Look ahead for smoking lunch.
Okay, cool, good. So I will still be seeing you, but I'm sad because this is maybe my last time for a little bit. I won't be here next month.
Okay, you're gonna come back for a future.
And
You're gonna come back for a future.
thank you. Oh, thank you. Speaking of jobs, though, you know you love your job, or you're in the right job when you sit down to write poetry and you write multiple poems about work, right? Right? Yeah. So I'm a play therapist. To give you a little background, so I hang out in a room with toys and troubled children, and we do things and we heal together, and it's beautiful. So this is a poem of just snapshots in the playroom, things that I've heard and said and felt and experienced. So a little snapshot of my world. And I did not rewrite it to make it pretty so I could read it, so be forewarned, I don't know if I'll be able to read my handwriting. Called This Is. This is God, she says, holding up a popsicle stick with glued on googly eyes and glitter. This is confusing. Did you notice it's stinky in here? He cries from behind the bookshelf as a plush poop emoji pummels me in the head. This is one of those moments when it's difficult not to laugh. This is you, he informs me, just before a flurry of falling furniture knocks down the doll in the red dress. This is a lot. I'm gonna kill you, whispers the walrus on my shoulder. This is terrifying. Toys flying, words lying, get stuck trying, spitting, kicking, crying. This is a big mess. You're the bad guy now. This is an invitation into their reality. This is a gift. This is sand in my bra, I realize upon returning home. This is my normal. This is my job. This is magic. This is constant growth. This is hard. This is healing. This is everything. Thank you, Nashville.
Wow.
Let's have some super applause for Beth Marie. Well, that was just beautiful. beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be looking for ways to connect with you and your poetry all the while. Wow. Ugh. And blessings on those kids in Atlanta. Yes. Oh, how well served. Well, now I'm just going to say we have one more on the open mic unless someone else would like to join, and then we get to hear from our feature. But right now, thank you very much and welcome, T.C. Smith.
I did not finish my second poem. I was writing a poem. I was writing a poem the other day. Yeah, it is always lovely to come here because you are always so inspiring, and it's basically the only day out of the month that I can write anything if I try to. It's been a really weird few years for like expressing to like have to try and express yourself because like there's so much going on all the time and it's just kind of hard to keep up with, and I don't know what I'm feeling most of the time. All I know is that it's a lot. And I don't think I like it all that often. It has its moments, but it's on the whole, it's very overwhelming, and I give it like a 5 out of 10. Okay, I'm a bit iffy on the poem I wrote this time, but I wrote, here it goes. I am not what I was at the beginning, when all was heated chaos. I am more or less sure of that, insofar as surety is possible. My atoms feel rest calling to them. They miss our time among the others. Once we were the brightest of stars. Now we are a machine of flesh and sinew. I am convinced the collective soul of all existers is the part of the universe we can't measure. The dark matter, mysterious and unknown, inviting an active imagination to use it in filling of the gaps. When all that ever will be has gone, I hope my atoms and your atoms will once again connect. Maybe then we can work out whatever the fuck just happened.
Oh, thank you, T.C. Smith. Let's hear it again for everyone we've heard on the open mic. You all are wonderful. Appreciation for you sharing your voices. Oh, it's that time of the evening where we get to welcome our feature. Lyss Hart is a poet, a writer, and a songwriter. She's originally from Cleveland. We get to have her here. She moved to Nashville in 2019 in pursuit of songwriting, but quickly found her home among Nashville's spoken word and poetry scene. Lucky us. Oh, her work is raw, like I like it, and hits topics such as love, abuse, feminism, family dynamics, and mental illness. Lyss is in the process of publishing her first book, The Light Will Reappear Where It Once Left Me, which she hopes to release later this year. Breaking barriers on what society may deem as taboo, she is a spokesperson for the unheard and uses her voice to empower those struggling with self-love. She has a flow that moves through body and soul. Please welcome, with great gratitude, Lyss Hart!
Freedom from toxicity, simply put, is weird. You recognize that you are free, but your body still clings to the memories. There is a part of you that still lives in the past. It is what you knew for so long. The brain is a beautiful yet complex organ. After trauma, the brain has a very difficult time processing a life where chaos does not exist. It leaves you with an impending sense of doom. You will be always waiting for the next trigger. Like a thriller movie, what will happen next? Sitting in stillness seems merely impossible, and while you are physically free, your mind may take years to catch up. But making your way toward a life of freedom is just the beginning. And training your brain to recognize that freedom, that is where the real work begins. Thank you, guys. Okay, so hey, I'm Alyssa, also known as Lyss Hart. Thank you, Poetry in the Brew, for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I wanted to start off with that piece. It's called Free, and I wanted to start off with that piece because a lot of the stuff I write about is about anxiety and depression and trauma that I've experienced. So I wanted to start off with that. And of course, after the trauma comes the healing. I believe we all have our own healing journeys that we're going on. But I'm going to start off with the trauma. Fair warning, I do talk about some touchy subjects such as eating disorders and sexual assault, so trigger warning for anybody who may be dealing with that and doesn't want to have to hear it right now. But for me, I just need to let it out because this is my therapy. So this next one is called Your Love versus My Love. He said to me, "You will never find anyone who will love you like I do." As I stand here today, I know that he is right. I will never again find a love like his, because from now on, I will be looking out for the warning signs. My response: your love comes from the deep trenches of the ocean, the darkest galaxy in space. Your love is meant to hurt and betray me and throw all of my happiness away. Your love is power over me and it is sin. Your love comes from manipulation, knowing that I will always give in. Your love is like cold air in the winter that hurts when you breathe. It freezes the arteries to my heart and gives me chills down my spine so that I cannot move or speak. Your love is negligence at its finest, and never admitting you're wrong. It is my insanity moving from 0 to 100 in a matter of months. Your love tries to make me feel crazy, like it's okay that you let me down. It pulls me in closer and closer until I drown. But my newfound love for myself is when I take my first breath and finally I gasp for air, the water spilling out of my lungs and into the dirt so that I can put out the flames that burned me and made me hurt. And from the ashes I will rise like a lotus flower, sprouting from the muddy terrain it was given to grow. More beautiful than ever, I will have hope. I will become higher and higher as you remain. And I know a day will come when you will see me again, but I will be unrecognizable, barely touched, reborn and shed clean with brand new skin. I will have found this new love within myself. It will be greater and stronger than yours ever could be. For your love is torture, and my love has set me free. Thank you. As I was speaking that, I kind of just came to me that I wrote that piece in 2017, and the first person who ever heard it after I wrote it is sitting right here. This is one of my good friends sitting in the back. Their names are Holly and Alex. Thanks for coming to support me, guys. Okay, this next one is called I Ate the Cookie. When I was a little girl, I loved myself. Stealing my mom's makeup and painting rainbows on my face, dancing in my parents' bathroom, pretending I was Britney Spears. So lucky. When I was a little girl, this time a bit older, I looked in the mirror and I started to recognize all of the things I did not have. I cannot remember which came first, the bullying from classmates, or the negative thoughts about myself. Not pretty, not smart, nothing beautiful. At 16, I looked in the mirror and I hated myself. I listened to what they told me and I believed everything I wasn't. I loved food. Oh, but I hated food. On days, starvation was my only diet. On nights, a mindless binge would heal my soul. Anger would then ensue. Why could I not go a full day without eating? I taught myself how to throw up a few times, as if my body deserved it. Now, as an adult woman, I look in the mirror and I am slowly but surely starting to break old habits. Some days I look in the mirror and I think, damn girl, you look good. And other days I look in the mirror and I just don't like what I see. I see acne that accumulates after too much work and not enough rest, bags under my eyes from stress. I eat 3 meals a day, but I still calculate everything. Anxiety comes from, is this good for me? Don't you dare eat that cookie. Your face will blow up with pustules. You'll be bloated for days. But then I remember that little girl dancing in the mirror and painting rainbows on her face. She deserves that cookie, doesn't she? So I picked up that damn thing in all its chocolate chip glory, broke it in two, watched as the chocolate oozed out from underneath, shoved both halves in my mouth, and I ate that damn thing without any regrets. Oh, okay, so this next one is a brand new one. Well, it's not brand new. I just never performed it before. And the only person that's ever read it is the person who is helping me edit this book that I am trying to publish, hopefully soon. This, again, trigger warning, this is about sexual assault. My body has confused sex for something malicious. The first boy who entered himself inside of me, I told him it was hurting. He did not stop. I understood then, in that very moment, there is no fight or flight. There is only freeze. Don't speak. He won't listen anyways. My body has confused sex for something malicious. I let men I've just met enter my body. I don't remember their first names, trying to fill this black hole inside of me that's been created. My body has confused sex for something malicious. I let my boyfriend do things to my body that I do not like, because if I said no, he wouldn't love me. My body has confused sex for something malicious. I touch myself to the thought of a man. It's the only way, isn't it? I'm supposed to feel happy afterwards, aren't I? But I cry when I'm done, and I don't know why. My oxytocin levels confused. I begin to tremble. I must tell myself I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I repeat it until I believe it. I've gone from one night stands to 0 physical intimacy. I shudder at the thought of being touched, yet I crave it so desperately. My mind trying to make sense of the contradiction, and my body confusing sex for something malicious. So when bad things happen to us, and bad things happen to everybody, that's just the trials and tribulations of life, we want to heal, and sometimes our healing journeys take us to a place where we become angry, or we build up walls and we set boundaries and borders to not let anybody in, and we just want to become this person who is so unshakable, who's never going to let anything bad happen to them ever again. And I call those people earth shakers. So that is what my next piece is called. It's called Earth Shaker. And I figured I've been writing so many sad poems lately. I need to write a good one, a good, empowering one. So that's what this one's about. Earth shaker, risk taker. Past lovers call her a heartbreaker. Others cry out, faker. But really, she's not a player. She's a money maker. And one day she'll be sitting on acres. So go ahead, try and shake her, but please don't mistake her. She's got a lot of haters. They talk like she's an over-exaggerator when she's just a truth speaker, a life preacher. She was young and scolded by the teachers, left alone sitting on the bleachers. Cool kids acting like they know her. Then she grew up and capitalism owned her. First her body, then her mind, and all she wants is to be freer. They call her complainer like she's the instigator. Sit pretty and remember your manners. But she belongs to something greater. The only one that can judge her is the creator. She's a curse breaker, a risk taker. So go ahead, call that girl an earth shaker. I have two more for you guys. This next one is a brand spanking new one. I just wrote it last week. It's also another one about healing. It's called Time. Don't you think it's crazy how time changes? How you once traveled in one direction and now here you are changing your compass, your internal clock. Not in the way society deems a woman to shift, but in the way she finds her own, in the people she meets, in the lovers she enraptures, in the way she holds on to her roots and carries her mother's smile. Yes, I dare say it is crazy. How you once thought life was ending, but here you are now and life is just beginning, and you feel it in the healing, in the way you react. You feel it in your bones. When your body is touched and you no longer cry, when you listen and no longer argue, when crying in the car music becomes electric dance and feel-good hip-hop, and when your poetry returns to love instead of war, learning that time is not of the essence, and slow living is what you now crave, simplicity over fame, dancing like no one's watching, but when they are watching, it is happiness they see, because the times surely have changed, like the steady cadence of the drums, where fear once sat in the pit of your chest, now stands tall in gracement, and you feel it to your very core. It's like a brand new you. Though it's not She was in you all along, from birth. But time dragged you on by, and you only now return. So, it's time to become who you were born to be. It's time, yet a man-made concept. It's time to create your own timeline. It's time, and it's on your side. Now, how fucking crazy is that? All right, well, I have one more. Thank you again, Poetry in the Brew, for having me, Portland Brew East for having me. One thing I do want to say is, first and foremost in this life, I am a writer, and I look up to so many authors and singers and artists, and I look up to so many people in this room. And for me, if I can help one person by my poetry and by my writing, then I've done something good in the world. And I really believe that's what I was put on this earth to do. Because hiding in the silence is just not something that anybody should have to do. So, yeah. So this last piece is a piece that made me really think, okay, wow, I need to keep doing this. And it's about anxiety and depression from a young age. And my dad, who, I grew up with my dad, who was an alcoholic, and he's actually 3 months sober today. But I wrote this piece at a time where I was just angry and I was dealing with my own issues and just trying to figure out life. And so this is what has come out, and it's called Most Days. Most days, I don't like myself. See, I've been out here struggling with my mental health. Since the age of 10, been medicated. Doctor told my mom, said, I don't think she's gonna make it. That girl, she seems angry. Well, what doctor didn't know is that back at home, I was hiding underneath my covers every time Dad would drink. Because when Dad would drink, he would get mean, and then he would put all the blame on me. See, that's the kind of shit that gives me PTSD, the kind of shit that I still think about. So now every time I meet a man, I'm terrified he's gonna bring me down. And as a grown woman, I'm always anxious, gotta peek behind my shoulder twice to make sure that no one breaks into this safe zone that I created all on my own. And most days that has me thinking I need to re-up on those greens, but then again, maybe it's the weed that has me sick to my stomach, making me think that I can't rise above it. Or maybe it's that dude that I dated back in college. He did some real bad shit, if I'm being honest. Some messed up shit, I can't even speak on it. But most days I need to take a step back, inhale, exhale, relax, and finally realize that maybe I'm the one that's running from my problems. Maybe I'm the one that's not being honest with myself. Maybe I need to take a deep dive into my soul, because most days I feel alone. And yeah, Dad does drink. I don't think life turned out the way he wanted it to be, but he always told me, Alyssa, go follow your dreams. So most days I'm just trying to figure out what lies underneath. See, I'm sick of playing pretend, because sometimes I wonder if I might like girls, but I also really like men. And it's weird because I believe in God and I pray to Jesus. I know, I make some contradictory statements, but I'm just trying to figure out where my faith is, because I really do believe in a higher power. I believe that I'm here for a reason, and I often forget that when the depression starts to creep in. And after nearly 2 decades of trial and error with antidepressants, I finally said, fuck it. My body can create its own damn serotonin. So most days, that's exactly what my body does. And also, guess what? still get angry. Yeah, I do. But I also get happy. And I get sad. Because that's life. So go tell my dad that I don't harbor any hate. I understand the reasons as to why he drank. And while we're at it, why doesn't someone go tell Big Pharma that they need to stop prescribing minors drugs? I mean, what the fuck? Your brain isn't even fully developed until you reach the age of 25. And you want to know a little secret? Most days, I feel even more alive since I stopped taking mine. Most days, I look in the mirror and I see a woman who used to be a little girl. She hid underneath her covers because she was afraid of the world. But people of the house, I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to be afraid anymore, even when depression comes knocking at my front door. Even when anxiety tags along like my oldest friend, I'll look her in the face and I'll say, hey, anxiety, how you doing? Nice to see you again. I mean, I really wish you wouldn't stay, but if you must, I know I'm gonna be okay. See, most days I've learned to put anxiety and depression on top of the shelf. And yeah, it's true that some days I do still struggle with my mental health. But you know what? Every day, every single day, just like the last, I am still learning. I am still learning. I am still learning to love myself. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening.
More for Lyss Hart. Oh, that was powerful. Good. Thank you. And let's hear some more again for all of you showing out, poets and poetry enthusiasts. Thank you for making it. Again, I'm your host, Christine Hall. We do this the second Saturday of the month. On the first Saturday, we're online. We also sometimes share about other events and stuff. If you got any news, we'll post it. You can send it. We're Poetry in the Brew in all the places. So please remember, if you haven't already, to tip Patrick and the Portland Brew East crew in cash on your way out to show your thanks and, maybe bribe them to let us do it again. I also like to contribute to that, and we have other operating expenses, so if you're able to pay the $5 cover, that is very appreciated. Anyway, we're happy to have you, and I want to say a special shout out to our Patreon and our impresario extraordinaires, Rhoda Thomas, Bonnie Soloway, and Katie Thompson for helping make this production possible. Oh, I just saw somebody. We were closing down. You didn't want to say something. Darn. Well, I'll keep my eyes peeled and my ears out. So yeah, thank you again all. We'll be back here and I hope to see and hear from you again. Have a beautiful night and a productive month as far as keeping the art flowing through you. All right.